All right, good evening, everyone.
Good
Shalom.
evening.
Welcome to the Rabbi's class this week, Parashat Balak. And we're starting in the article on page 856. Parashat Balak is famous for the story of Bilam trying to curse the people of Israel. As you all know, all the curses turn into blessings. But what I want to investigate with you today is actually a bit of a background and mainly focus about Balak. What caused Balak to do all that and to engage with Bilam? And we need to go through actually a real good history and comparison from different sources, and to see even the map of Israel of that time to understand what's actually going on in here. So just for the start, we are now at the end of the 40th year. So we are basically, the people of Israel are about not too far from the land of Israel. And suddenly Balak comes, and this is what we're going to start to read now. Okay, Jules, you want to start? Page 857.
Balak, son of Zippor, saw that all that Israel had done to the Amorite. Moab became very frightened of the people because it was numerous, and Moab was disgusted in the face of the children of Israel. Moab said to the elders of Midian, "Now the congregation will lick up our entire surroundings, as an ox licks up the greenery of the field." Balak, son of Zippor, was king of Moab at that time. He sent messengers to Balaam, son of Beor of Petor, which is by the river of the land of the members of his people, to summon him, saying, "Behold, the people has come out of Egypt. Behold, it has covered the surface of the earth, and it sits opposite me. So now, please come and curse this people for me, for it is too powerful for me. Perhaps I will be able to strike it and drive it from the land. For I know that whomever you bless is blessed, and whomever you curse is accursed." The elders of Moab and the elders of Midian went with charms in their hand. They came to Balaam and spoke to him the words of Balak.
Okay, let's stop here. Actually, this is for us.
From the Hamas charter, isn't it?
We'll get to that.
All right.
The first question I want to raise with you is why Balak? I mean, we have to understand what are they scared of so much. And if they're scared so much, wouldn't be the most effective way is what to do?
To join.
No.
To surrender.
If someone is afraid of a war, what should the
Run
king
away.
do?
They go fight them.
Surrender.
Exactly.
What?
Thank you. Okay. What was that?
Fight them.
Fight them. I mean, we're talking about
Balak's a
world of
warrior.
nations. We're talking about Balak ben Zippor, Melech Moab, the king of Moab. What's the problem? Put up all your soldiers. Go for a war.
Mm.
What is this crazy idea?
We already heard what happened to the Amorite.
So,
So it's frightening.
They completely defeated them. They destroyed them.
okay.
So he's scared.
So he's scared. All right, let's see.
Also, not to mention that he knows that Hashem's favor is upon people.
All right. So if Hashem is with them, then by curses they will win.
That's good.
Doesn't make sense,
No.
isn't it? Okay, let's have a look what Rashi says here. Look at this. First, Rashi says the follows. Amar elu shne melachim, exactly. Look at what you said. Et kol asher asa Yisrael, where he saw everything that Israel did to the Amorite. Yeah. If he's so scared from the Amorite, what did he say? Rashi says, Amar elu shne melachim she'aynu betuchim aleim lo amdu b'fneim. These two kings, which kings? Sichon the king. We'll go through all of them, just generally to understand what is the background, what is so frightening. Yeah. Apparently, Moab wasn't a big nation. It says so much more so us. Vayago Moab. They were very, very scared. But let's see, the verses are really strange. The verses start with what? Vayar Balak ben Zippor. Balak ben son of Zippor saw all that done to Israel and the Amorite. Yeah, had done to the Amorite. And then Vayago Moab was very frightened. And then look at this. What happened on verse 4. The end of verse 4. What does it say? And then we have, first of all, introduction. Balak, son of Zippor. And then Moab was very frightened. Yes. And then Moab says to the elders of Midian, look what they're going to eat us like what?
They're going to lick
At us like
Yeah.
the entire surrounding, which is also, what does it mean?
Means they'll destroy us.
Right?
Means they'll destroy us.
They will destroy us. Rashi says, "Ki l'choch ashor kol ma she'ashor melachech en bo siman bracha." The same as the ox, or is eating everything, is uprooting everything. There will be nothing left from us. And then what? Look at the end of verse 4.
He was king of
He was
Moab
king.
at the time.
Where is that should be?
Because he's not a Moab.
Where? No. Where is this verse should be?
Should be at the beginning.
Beginning. Vayar Balak ben Zippor, the king of Moab, and then Moab was frightened. What's this order
Yeah.
that suddenly in the middle of the story, Balak ben Zippor, king of Moab, at that time? Ah, really? I thought we were talking about Back to the Future. Is not on that. What is that time? What? I mean, it seems like we are talking about the future tunnel. Yeah? To this, the Ramban says something really interesting. I want to read you the Ramban. Ramban is the Nachmanides. Yeah? Any questions? Feel free to stop us. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to understand. And if the Torah has a sequence and an order, that's not a mistake. Yeah? That's very important to understand why. So the Ramban says this. Okay. Vayagor Moab pneam. Ramban comments on the verse that Moab was very frightened from the people. Ba'avu kiravu, because the people were a lot. Yeah, kiravu, as I said, because it was numerous. Yeah. Ramban says Shaya Moab katan bagoim. Moab apparently was a small nation, even smaller than Israel, according to the Ramban. Ki einenu am kadmon. It wasn't an ancient nation. It wasn't an ancient nation as the Canaanite and the Amorites on that time, relatively new in the history of the ancient time, if that makes sense. Yeah? Vayaguru me'od mipnei am, and they're really frightened from the people of Israel. Shayu rabim mehem, the people of Israel, even after Egypt and even after all the time in the desert, in terms of really numbers, the people of Israel still were greater than Moab. Yeah? As you remember, in the beginning of the story of Israel, what happened to them? They were multiplied, right?
Yeah.
Become numerous. Yeah? And he was so scared after they heard, of course, all the miracles that happened to them. So Moab is very frightening. So the question is, and why is it Ba'etai in that time? I'm going to jump a little bit in the Ramban to explain. So Ramban has an interesting idea. Ramban says that, look at this, the way as we explained that the verse is kind of cut off, right? It should have been Balak ben Zippor Melech Moab, the king of Moab in the beginning, right? So according to the Ramban, this is what he says now. The Ramban says that the nation was very scared, and actually in that time they didn't have Balak as a king yet, right? Balak, this is why it says Balak Melech Moab, the king of Moab, Ba'etai. That only that time he became the king. All right, why? Because the people were very scared, and they were engaged. They heard about Balak, that Balak is a hero, is a warrior, and he perhaps can save them. So this is why it says Ba'eta in that time. So it wasn't in the beginning. Balak wasn't the king yet, and just after Moab was so scared of Israel that they engaged with him. And it says first, look at this. Look at verse 4, yeah, Moab said to the elders of Midian, right? Now the congregation will lick up our entire surrounding as the ox licks, yeah? And then Balak ben Zippor. So the time that the elders of Moab, yeah, the time the people of Moab went to the elders of Midian, that's the time they actually appointed Balak to the king. Makes sense?
Yes.
According to the Rambam?
Mm.
All right, so this is why in the beginning we just introduced with this name Balak ben Zippor, but only then he became the king. That's very interesting according to the Rambam. So what do we learn here so far? That Moab himself, the nation, was super scared of Israel. Okay, and is that really the case? Okay, look, let's see something interesting. Let's go to Parashat Varim. What we're going to do a lot is jumping in the Torah to see some comparison from different sources.
It's useful to keep that ribbon handy.
Yeah, so keep that
You never know
as well.
where.
Keep that as well. And let's read in Parashat Varim. We're talking about chapter 2 in the book of Varim, book of Deuteronomy. Beginning of chapter 2, 949, page 949. Yeah. Okay. And this is chapter 2. So after this is where Moshe Rabbeinu giving his final speech as a reminder of the people of Israel at the end of the 40th year, all the events that happened previously. Yeah. So he starts here after he mentioned the sin of the spies and the fact that the people had to detour for 40 years. And then look at this. Let's go to the beginning of chapter 2.
Me?
Or you?
We-
You can, or someone else, doesn't matter.
We turned and journeyed to the wilderness towards the sea of reeds, as Hashem spoke to me, and we circled none there for many days.
Yes.
Hashem said to me, saying, enough of your circling this mountain, turn yourself northward. You shall command the people, saying, you are passing through the boundary of your brothers, children of Israel, who dwell in Seir. They will fear you, but you should be very careful. You shall not provoke them, for I shall not give you of their land even the right to set foot. For as an inheritance to Esau have I given mountains there. You shall purchase food from them for money, so that you may eat. Also water shall you buy from them for money, so that you may drink. For Hashem, your God, has blessed you in all your handiwork. He knew your way in this great.
Okay, who's a sub? Who's a sub? What nation is a sub? It says here that they should not go through Edom. Very good. Okay, I want to show you. I don't know if you can see. This is the ancient map of Israel. Yeah? Yeah? Okay, have a look. Sorry, I apologize to you in the Zoom. If you can see, basically down the bottom, the bottom of the Arava is basically, we can't see it in the map here, is Egypt. Yeah? The people of Israel basically cross the sea, cross the sea down here, yeah, and are walking up, and technically are now entering into Edom. Yeah, they need to go into the land of Israel. Yes. What's happening? Hashem says to them, "Lot garbam." You cannot go through them to the people of Edom. So we look what it says here. This is important. Verse 5. Did you read verse 5?
Yeah.
You read it again. You shall not provoke them, for I shall not give you of the land, even the right to set food. For as an inheritance to Hesav, I have given Mount Seir. They cannot go through here. This is inheritance for Hesav. So all the area of Edom, they cannot cross. And we'll see the verses in Parashat Chukat that we read last week. The people are not allowed. They ask, even don't give us water. We just want to pass through. They don't come out with the whole army. You cannot. You have to remove. So that's what the Torah says here. So what they have to look at this, what a huge detour. Yeah? And And they're going where?
All the way south of
All the way south, correct.
Mm.
The way they have to look at this. Where are we? Did you read verse 8? No, let's go
No.
for verse 6 and 7 and 8. Read.
You shall purchase food from me.
Everyone can see the map, and I'll show you down the detail.
For money so that you may eat. Also water shall you buy from them, for money that you may drink. For Hashem your God has blessed you in all your handiwork. He knew your way in this great wilderness. This 40-year period, Hashem your God was with you. You did not lack a thing.
Yes.
So we, yeah, should I
Go,
continue?
go, go.
Okay. So we passed from our brothers, the children of Israel.
Oh, look at this. So they were already here, close. Sorry, again to the top. This is now after 40 years they're wandering in the south. Yes, and now basically how close is if you go through Edom, you're straight in the land of Israel. So they don't refuse that. They go all the way down. Look at verse 8. So we passed from our brother and the children of Esav who dwell in Seir, from the way to the Arava, all the way down, the bottom of the Arava, which is Arava today in Israel, the Negev, if you want. Yeah? From Eilat, that's the same place, Eilat. As you know, the bottom south of Israel. If you have the map in your head, everyone knows what I'm talking about. Sophia, I'm not sure if you know the map. And they turn back all the way and turn and pass the way up to the Moabite desert. All this detour around to the Moab desert, up to here.
Whoa.
And this is at the end of the 40th year. They were already there. No, Esav, Hashem says, if they don't let you go, you don't go. They're going up to Moab. But look at this. So wouldn't it be easy, instead of going all this detour, to ask Moab to go through?
Yeah.
Ask Moab. What's the problem? Look at this. Let's read. Let's read number 9.
Hashem said to me, you shall not distress Moab, and you shall not provoke war with them. For I shall not give you an inheritance from their land, for to the children of Lot have I given as an inheritance.
So the people of Israel could easily, instead of going to Moab, instead of going all the way down, do such a big detour like this around, they could basically go to Moab. But what Hashem says here, look at this, is something new. What Moshe says in his last, as a reminder to the people, that Hashem says, Al tatzaret Moab, al titgar bam. Hashem says, shall not provoke war with them, for I shall not give you inheritance from their land. So what's the reason of Balak to be so scared? Do you understand? Now we're learning something completely new. Yes, again, look at this, how short would that be instead of going to Moab? Okay, let's go through more. Instead of going to Edom, we understand they came up with a whole war. Hashem says, don't go war with them. Why not go to Moab? They had to go such a big tour around and all the way down up. This is why they went to Ammon, basically. They had to go through to the top. Plus, and we'll read the war against Ammon and Sichon. This is all the area. This is not necessary completely. If Moab would have let them go through, they would go here. No need of that. Unnecessary war. This is not written in last week's parasha. It's written here. That actually Hashem says, Al titgar b'milchama. Do not provoke them war. Yeah? For, again, look at verse 9. Hashem says to me, you shall not distress Moab, and you shall not provoke war with them, for I shall not give you an inheritance from their land. For the children of Lot have I given as an inheritance. Again, everything here is calculated by Hashem. Which portion of the Middle East will go to which nation?
Correct.
Why are they not Jews?
What?
Why are they not Jews if they're descendants of Lot?
Lot wasn't Jewish. Why Lot is Jewish?
Wasn't
What?
he Abraham's?
Yeah, it was nephew, but Abraham and Sarah from there.
Right.
Then Abraham, Sarah, and then of course Isaac, then Jacob. Lot was the other side of the tree.
Couldn't they be friends of the neighbor?
They tried, but they had to separate because the Lord wasn't a nice man. Okay, so look at this. This is really interesting. Rashi comments on Parashat Dvarim, something very interesting that's relevant to us. Rashi says here, on verse 9, that it says, "Ve'al tidgar b'milchama," you shall not, Hashem says to me, you shall not distress Moab and you shall not provoke war with them. Rashi says, "Lo asar lehem al Moab ela milchama." Hashem only prohibited the people of Israel to go war against them, Moab. Yeah? אבל מייראים אותם ונראים להם כשהם מזוינים. But Hashem did not say, don't provoke them. Hashem says, do not provoke them. War.
Provoke war.
Look at this at the verse, in verse 5. What did we not allow to do to Edom? You should not provoke them. Any provocation. To Moab, you shall not provoke war. Look at after that, we continue. Sorry, 1 second, we get to that. Lefichach, she says, Kativa Yagor Moab b'pnei. Here in our Parsha, suddenly it says that Moab was very frightened of Israel. Israel could not go into war with Moab, but perhaps they were all already, dressed and ready for a war, and that was very frightening to the Moabite, and therefore they are now very distressed, and they, according to Ramban, they're a small nation. Perhaps physically they're going to lose. Then they engage with Bilam. But 1 second, we see here that they're not allowed to fight with them. So what's their problem?
But did they know?
Excellent.
That's the big
How do we know that they didn't know? Wow, you think that?
Moshe wasn't talking to
What do
them.
you mean? How the Gazan people know that Israel is going to bomb? They sent flyers before.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Look at this. It's probably here.
So
They send flyers. We're not going to provoke war with you.
Do you think so?
No, I'm suggesting.
Ah,
if
don't
Balaam,
provoke me.
if Balaam is a prophet of the nations, would Balaam know?
Maybe, perhaps, but I'm
They
going to
didn't
prove.
ask him.
Listen, look at this.
Didn't ask him.
Look at this. I can assume, and we'll see that actually they knew. They actually knew. They actually knew the people of Israel were going to prove it now. That's a very good question. How do they know? They didn't send a WhatsApp message to the whole group of Moab. We just playing around, but we're not going to conquer you, right? Or as Israel do now, knock on the door with those bombs. Eric, do you know what Israel does in Gaza? Have you heard that? They're sending special empty bombs, it's called shell bombs or whatever, knock on the door. Because Hamas is firing rockets from on civilians, and Israel want to retaliate, but Israel doesn't want to hurt civilians. So they're sending flyers and special noises that the civilians know that they're going to be attacked in that area, and they run away. Although they don't have to. This is a war. In a war, you don't give a warning. If you need to defend, you defend. But here, look at this. Hashem says, Al tidgar b'milchama. Don't provoke them war. So what's your story, Balak? What's the big deal? Interesting, isn't it? We never noticed. Right. Okay, let's try and think together why. Just first of all, from simple idea, simple idea why why Moab would have known that Israel cannot attack him, and is not the reason why he was scared. Let's look.
Because Balak on Wednesday night went to the Rabbi Shir.
First of all, geographically, let's look at the map and think. Right. Again, Israel. Maybe before that, we need to read actually the actual source from last week. Before I'll explain you, let's go back again, and we'll come back to the map. It's good to have the map. I'm sorry, I cannot show the map with the video, but if you Google ancient map of Israel, you all can maybe pull up on your computers, on your phones, and at home pull out ancient map of Israel. The first result in Wikipedia. You can see that map. Let's go to page in Parashat Chukat. Parashat Chukat. And we are talking about this.
Lucky if it's got two.
Page 845, last verse in page, oh sorry, 847. 847. Let's see the story of Edom. Yeah, let's read it in the as it happened, so to speak. What we read before, it was the recall of Moshe of the story that happened a year before, so to speak. A year or two before, maybe there was a 38th year. Sophia, do you want to read or
You.
come on?
What
847, the top.
Moses sent emissaries from Kadesh to the king of Edom. So said your brother Israel, you know all the hardship that has befallen us. Our forefathers descended to Egypt, and we dwelled in Egypt many years. And the Egyptians did evil to us and to
You
our
hear that, Amir?
forefathers.
Like it's his fault.
No problem, man. Look what happened to his arm.
He thought, we've gone past Pesach, why do I need this?
Yeah, go on.
We cried out to Hashem and he heard our voice. He sent an emissary and took us out of Egypt. Now behold, we are in Kadesh, a city at the edge of your border.
City of Kadesh is only on the border of Israel.
Mm.
Almost close to the border, yeah? Again, and then what?
Let us please pass through your land. We shall not pass through field or vineyard, and we shall not drink well water. On the king's road shall we travel. We shall not veer right or left until we pass through your border. And Edom said to him, you shall not pass through me, lest I come against you with the sword. The children of Israel said to him, we shall go up on the highway, and if we drink your water, I or my flock, I shall pay their price.
Look at this. They're really trying their best, just to make sure they can now. The people are exhausted. 40 years wandering in the desert. They want to come into the land of Israel. We're now not only asking you to give us, paths to go through. We'll pay. We'll take the water. We'll pay for the food, right? Whatever you need. Yes. We shall pay the price. Yeah.
Only nothing will happen. Let me pass through on foot.
Yeah.
He said, you shall not pass through. Then Edom went out against him with a massive throng and a strong hand. So Edom refused to permit Israel to pass through his border, and Israel turned away from near him.
Right. So Israel, instead of turning around all the way as we read, and let's read again. Let's see again the map now. Israel, instead of going all the way down to Eilat and around, technically could have gone around or through Moab. Yes.
Yeah.
So the fact that Moab is saying actually, why the people of Israel are not coming through me? He sees an entire nation going all the way down south and around. So obviously they're not going to attack him. If they want to attack him, they would go directly.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that the people now have to do such a big detour in the entire Negev, the entire Arava, and go all the way east and attack and go behind. More than that, where Israel attacked? Israel attacked after that. Let's read the continuation. The continuation is in page 852. 852. Okay. Now you see the map as well, and you understand what is the next war. 852. Before Moab, before what's his name coming? Balak. Okay, this is from last week's parasha. Still, the battle with Sichon. Look at page 853, verse 21. Yeah, Israel sent. Who's reading? Dan.
I am. Israel sent imageries. We'll try again.
Israel sent emissaries to Sihon, the king of the Amorites, saying, "Let me pass through your land. We shall not turn off to field or vineyard. We shall not drink well water. On the king's road we shall travel until we pass through the border." But Sihon did not permit Israel to pass through his border, and Sihon assembled his entire people and went out against Israel to the wilderness.
Okay, so this is until now similar to what happened in Edom. Where is Sihon? Sihon is actually where around Damascus is. It's not even Ammon. We'll see that in a moment. Look up here, if you don't have it. Israel are now all the way up north. They're way past Moab. Yeah?
Yeah.
And they're looking for Sihon up here to ask to go through now. Yes?
Where are the Amorites, by the way?
Where are the Amorites?
Yeah,
United
Jordan.
Arab
In
Emirates.
Jordan.
seriously.
It's
In Dubai.
Jordan,
In
yeah.
Dubai.
It's Jordan today.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
That's all the kingdom of Jordan. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's the kingdom of Ammon and the
Ammon, Rabat Ammon.
So
Amman.
that's-
Amen.
So
Yeah,
that's the
that's-
Amorites.
That's the other one, Ammon.
Yeah,
So Sihon is up here,
yeah.
Ammon is in between. Everything today is Jordan.
And
But it's
Ammon,
called now Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amman is the
Amman.
capital. No, it's the capital.
Amman.
Yeah.
Yeah, you with me?
Amen. Yes.
So what's
Alright.
different the Ammonites and the Amorites?
What is the difference between?
Ammonites, presumably a kingdom. of
One with the
Ammon,
N and one
Amorites.
doesn't have the N.
That says
Yeah.
Ammon.
I was going to say something.
I need another coffee.
I came from the word Ammon.
Thank you.
I need
A
one.
much better explanation.
All right, you listen. Yeah?
I'm trying to be here.
Make me one if you don't mind. Thank you. So, all right. So here now, they up in the north, and now Sihon is coming out for war. And let's see, in a moment, I'll show you also what happened in the middle in that nation Ammon. So again, look at this, such a big detour. It's amazing to see it on the map. Again, Israel were just here trying to cross Edom. They have to go, instead of going from here, they had to go all the way down and around up to the north. And now they're asking Sihon to let them through, and he's come up with his army.
But can't they go from the sea?
How? On canoes, in wakas.
Well, I didn't know.
They can cross the sea again. They just crossed the Red Sea. They don't bend in another, crossing the Mediterranean
At
Sea.
the SC, they just split it.
It happened once.
Can we have another
It's split again in the Jordan. The
Yeah.
Jordan River was split
Yeah.
when they crossed the Jordan in the time
Yes.
of Joshua.
Can we have another one?
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Right. So let's finish. See what Sihon happening. Verse 23. 853, verse 23.
Okay.
No, you go, Dan. Yeah.
You've only read my.
Okay, but Sihon did not permit Israel to pass through his border, and Sihon assembled his entire people and went out against Israel to the wilderness. He arrived at Jahaz and waged war against Israel.
Yeah.
Israel smote him with the edge of the sword and took possession of his land.
From Arnon. The river Arnon is a famous river in Israel, in Jordan.
From
Yeah.
Ammon to-
Arnon, not Ammon. This is Arnon.
Ammon.
Oh,
Arnon.
sorry.
That's all right.
Called
Arnon is a
Arnon.
big river
Yeah.
in Jordan.
From Arnon to Jabbok
God bless
to
you.
the children of Ammon.
Yeah.
For the border of the children of Ammon was passed.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
okay. So basically, look at this. From Sihon, they actually went down to Ammon as well. Let's see why is actually interesting that they conquered the Ammon as well. Yeah? Was for the border of children of Ammon was powerful. Let's go back to Dvarim again.
What page?
I'm telling you in a moment. Back to page 949. Okay, we continue from verse 9. 949, verse 9.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah?
That's Hashem said to me.
Yes.
Hashem said to me, You shall not distress Moab, and you shall not provoke war with them, for I shall not give you an inheritance from their land,
Yeah,
but to the children of Lot have I given as an inheritance.
yeah.
The men that dwelled there previously, a great and populous people, and tall as the giants. They too were considered Rephaim, like the giants.
Mhm.
The Moabites poured their men. In Seir, the Horites dwelled previously, and the children of the south drove them away and destroyed them from before themselves, and dwelled in their place as Israel did to the land of its inheritance, which Hashem gave them. Now rise up and get yourselves across Sered Brook. So we crossed Sered Brook.
Yeah, go on.
The days that we traveled from Kadesh Barnea until we crossed Sered Brook.
Kadesh Barnea. What was that? That the first time in Kadesh Barnea, they were Moshe sent the spies. Look at this.
Yeah.
From Kadesh Barnea all the way back, 38 years. Yes?
Yeah.
Such a huge detour. Yeah. And again, they came into Edom. Where was Edom? They're standing in Kadesh again. They're standing in Kadesh after 38 years, and Edom says, no, you cannot go through me. And they go down again, all the way to the south, and have to turn a big detour to the east, around Moab, up north to Sichon and the place of let's see what's happening now with Ammon. So again, look at this. In the map, Sichon is up north, is close to the Gilad, is probably where this is the area of
Lebanon.
this is the Golan Heights, so to speak, up here, and Syria, and then they're coming down into Ammon. Okay, let's jump to verse 17. Yeah, 17.
You want me to go
Yeah, you
on?
go. Okay.
Hashem spoke to me, saying, this day you shall cross the border of Moab at Ar, and you shall approach opposite the children of Ammon. You shall not distress them, and you shall not provoke them, for I shall not give any of the land of the children of Ammon to you as an inheritance.
So look at this. What they're saying here, even in Ammon, they could not fight. This is the reason now we understand why they have to go to Sichon.
Yeah.
Even you, if you would say, okay, they cannot go to Ammon, if you're going to go to Moab, cross through Ammon. Ammon is on the top, yeah? Why did they go all the way up? They even cannot fight Ammon. Why not Ammon? Sorry, let's read it again. Look at this. Al tetsurem v'al tetgarbam. This is emphasis. We should not distress them and we should not provoke them.
What's the difference
Double.
between distress and provoke?
Yes, Rashi says he commented that on what happened to Moab. אבל בבני עמון נאמר ואל תתגר בם. In בני עמון, no provocation completely. Yeah, not tetsurem is basically don't even do like a siege. Okay, the people of Israel could have sieged them, and you let me go through.
So wait, distress is attack, and provoke is anything other than that.
Yeah, but here it's perhaps it's not the right translation. If it's lo tetsurem means don't do a siege. What's the translation in English?
Well, there's distress and provoke, and that's what I don't quite understand.
So I think it's probably not the right translation, I would suggest, but katonti, humbly I would check elsewhere again.
Distress would be more like
Distress,
making them upset.
yeah, but that's same idea. But lotit
Provoking
garbam,
and
so
making them
we see the
more
difference.
excited.
Moab lotit garbam milchama. You should not provoke them war. Anything that related to war, and Rashi says anything beside war, it's a fine. Yes.
Yeah.
But to Ammon, Rashi says, to Ammon, it's emphasized that b'bnei Ammon nemar ve'al titgar bam, no provocation at all. Why? Rashi says, בזכר צניעות עמם, שלא פרסמה להביא כמו שעשתה בחירה שקרא שמם בני מואב. Ammon and Moab, remember where we find them first in the Torah? Who are Ammon and Moab? Children of who?
Lot.
Correct.
Yeah.
Excellent. Moab, why it's called Moab? From Av, from the father. So Moab was so unmodest that she called the son after the father. What did you do with your father? Ammon at least covered it. The name is Ammon. It doesn't say the word Av. So Rashi says, for that merit, that they were at least were modest in the way they gave the name to the child, that it doesn't show who was the father.
Yeah.
For that Mary, the people of Israel, hundreds of years later, couldn't attack them.
Ammon means son of being blessed.
Ammon, we can, if you read back in the Torah, we can check. That's in Parashat. Parashat.
That wasn't confusing.
Vayetzer,
Been distressed
look.
about
in Parashat Va'era. Va'era. Yeah. Page 91, if you want to have a look. Ben Ami. Oh, so that's the difference. Verse 91, page 91, verse 37 and 38. So the older boy's son, and she called his name Moab. He is the ancestor of Moab until this day, right? Yeah. And the younger one, also boy's son, she called his name Ben Ami, is the ancestor of the children of Ammon until this day. Yeah.
son of my people.
Son of my people.
Son of
Yes, exactly. So she called him after the people. He and the first one, Moab, after the father.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So you tell me now, it's very logic to assume that Moab knew the people of Israel not going to attack him. If they go all the way around, not only they going not around Edom, but they're also going and passing of Moab. Obviously, they're not going to come and attack you. What's going on here? Yeah. But as we know, this is just an assumption, logically, in the map. But let's see actually evidence. Want to see evidence? Let's see the evidence. Last week's Haftarah of Hukat, the second longest Haftarah in the Torah, the story of Yiftach. Let's have a look. Yiftach is basically fighting against who is? Ammon. Look at this. Page 1188. Page 1188. The Haftarah is related to Parashat Hukat because of the war against Sichon. And that's exactly, Yiftach is bringing up the history as it should be. And look how someone is trying to rewrite history. Okay, we'll jump into verse, we'll save you the whole discussion of how Yiftach was appointed to be the king, to be the head of Gilad. And again, Gilad, where is Gilad? Gilad is the place of Sichon in that area.
Yeah.
Is the judge of Gilad. Let's start from verse 11, page 1188. Eric, do you want to read for us?
So Japheth went with the
What? Where are you? Verse 11, page 1188. Sorry. So my mistake. Verse 10.
Verse 10.
No, verse 11. Sorry, again. Yeah.
Come on, mate.
11.
So Japheth went.
Japheth. I hate when they translate.
What is it?
Yiftach.
Yiftach.
Japheth.
But you know what? Yiftach in Arabic means
Not your
open.
father.
Open. Yiftach, same in Hebrew. Yiftach al-bab.
Yeah, exactly.
Yiftach is to
Yiftach,
open. Yiftach.
Japheth
Yeah.
went to the Gilad,
Gilad. Yeah.
Gilad
Elders.
elders, and the people set him as leader of the chief over them. Then Japheth spoke all these words before Hashem in Mizpah. Japheth sent emissaries to the king of the children of Ammon, saying,
Oh, right.
What-
So Ammon now, in this is 300 years later. This is the period of the judges, 300 years after the people of Israel crossed the Jordan River and inherited the land of Israel, right?
Yeah.
300 years later, Ammon, yes? Ammon is attacking Israel. And the people of Gilad are actually inherit the area of Sichon. Because what's Gilad? Bnei Gad, Bnei Menashe, half of Menashe, the 2.5 tribes who inherit that side, the eastern side of Israel, They are now being attacked by Ammon. Are you with me in the map?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so look at this. Iftach, open peacefully. He's coming to negotiate.
Mm.
Okay, he goes to the king of Ammon. Let's see that.
So
13.
Japheth, he's the one that got chucked in the deep end as well, like saying that like Balak was, because they had no leader, they wanted Balak to
We're talking now 300 years later.
Yeah,
Mm.
but this is the
Yeah.
same this is the same the Gila like leaders came to Japheth, didn't they? And wanted
Yeah,
him to
that's
be
right.
his
They're throwing them out.
Yeah, but you're not talking about that now. This
Yeah.
is not the time of Melech Moab, the king of Moab, Balak.
Eric's saying that it's parallel structure of
It's the
coming
same.
to get a king.
Okay,
Because
interesting.
because they were in trouble.
Yeah,
They needed to appoint a
okay,
leader,
cool.
and so this is
Yeah.
parallel with
Interesting.
that's how I see
Yeah,
it. Same
cool.
with,
I see what you're saying.
yeah.
Sure, let's read that.
So
13.
the king of the children of Ammon said to Japheth's emissaries, because Israel took my land when it ascended from Egypt,
Yeah,
from Arnon until Jabbok,
yeah.
until
Until
the
Jordan.
So now return them in peace.
That's interesting. Let's check this claim. Let's go back to what we just read. Okay. Where did we read that? What did we take? Yeah. Who did we take it from?
They didn't take
Ma'am?
it because they
Look at this. 855. Oh, open both and hold one page in 1188 and one page in 855. Yeah. No, before that. So Sichon didn't let them go through, right? Page 853, verse 23. That's what we want. 853, verse 23.
But Sihon did not permit Israel to pass through his border. And Sihon assembled his entire people and went out against Israel to the
Okay,
wilderness.
correct. Yeah,
He arrived at Jahaz
yeah.
and waged war against Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Israel smote him with the edge of the sword and took possession of his land
From
Anon.
Arnon until Yabok to the children of Ammon. Ad Bnei Ammon means not included. Okay? He's saying that Israel took, king of Ammon, saying that Israel took his land. This is not his land, that was Sichon's land. Sichon, the king of the Amorite. Israel took that from Arnon to the Yabok to the border of Ammon. Right? But what he's saying is rewriting history. That's all right. And then what does it? Sounds familiar, isn't it? You rewrite the history and you're claiming a land that never been belonged to you. And then it's fine. But what does he ask? Look at this.
But they're also blaming Israel for taking the land, but Israel wasn't.
Look at this. No. Look, finish the verse. Back to hold the page in 853. Go to page 1188. And verse 13, finish the verse. Yeah.
The king of the children of Ammon said to Japheth's emissaries, because Israel took my land when it ascended from Egypt, from Arnon until Jabbok
To the Yarden. It's like everything was his.
So
Nothing,
now-
it was not yours.
Yeah.
It was Sichon. Yeah, and then what? And now? So now return them in peace. Sounds familiar?
Yeah.
You give me land, I'll give you peace.
Then we don't have to
Peace,
fight for
peace
it.
for land, right? You'll give me the land that was never belonged to me, and I won't open a war against you. What a great deal.
Not
Funny.
bad.
History repeats itself.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Right? Okay, look at this. Iftach, Great leader. Perhaps we need someone like Yiftach in our times. Look at it. He is insisting on the true history. What happened? Let's go on in verse 14. Who didn't read yet?
Yeah.
Rob, go.
Okay.
For verse 14.
14, right?
Yeah.
And Yiftach once again sent emissaries to the king of the children of Ammon. He said to him, Thus
Look.
said Yiftach, Israel did not take the land of Moab and the land of the children.
Why not? Why Israel didn't take the land of Moab and the land of Ammon?
Hashem said,
Fantastic. Yes. Look at this. Numbers 15.
Read 15 again.
Okay, so 16, sorry.
For when Israel ascended from Egypt, Israel went into the wilderness until the Sea of Reeds, and they arrived at Kadesh.
Yes.
Israel sent emissaries along the king, emissaries to the king of Edom, saying, "Let me pass through your land." But the king of Edom did not listen.
Oh, that we know? We learned that?
Mm.
Oh, but look at this.
And also to the king of Moab.
Also to the king of Moab.
Mm.
What? Let's finish the verse. Also to the king of Moab.
But also the king of Moab did Israel send.
Did send. So it's not written in the Torah, but it actually happened. Israel not only sent emissaries to Edom to ask to go peacefully through the land of Edom, they sent emissaries to the land of Moab, yes, Velova, and they did not let. So it's not that suddenly, oh, how did you know? It was a secret command, a secret communication between Moshe and Hashem, right? Don't go through Moab, don't provoke war against it. No. Right, blue,
Black and white.
black and white. Black and white, right? Okay, and look at this. So he goes on. Look at this, how amazing Yiftach is. That's verse 18. Continue.
But he was also not willing. So Israel sojourned in Kadesh.
Yes.
It went through the wilderness and went around the land of Edom.
Around the land of Edom and around the land of Moab.
The eastern side of the land of Moab.
You saw the map. Yeah, again. Now you visualize that. What Yiftach saying, we saw in the map. Yeah?
They camped across the Arnon. But they did not enter the border of Moab, for Arnon is the border of Moab.
Okay. This is here. Arnon is here basically in between. So in between Ammon and Moab, that's the river of Arnon. Somewhere here. They did not cross yet because they're not allowed. They go up north from Ammon. Go on, let's go. Yeah?
Ready?
Yes?
Then Israel sent emissaries
To who?
to Sichon, king
Ah.
of Amorite,
Yes.
king of Heshbon. And Israel said to him, "Let us please pass through your land until my place."
Look at this. Israel wanted to go peacefully into the land of Israel with absolutely no war.
Mm.
Every nation that they asked to go through
So no.
said no.
But weren't they scared of them?
What?
Weren't they scared of them?
For
The
who?
other nations. Weren't they scared of them because they had won quite a few battles over
Sorry, who's scared of who?
all
The other nations.
that they passed, that they are
Edom went out with a war. Sichon, yeah, and so Edom went out to a war. Israel had to go around. Ammon apparently was asked to go, and the Loava, and did not let. So they went to go around. Ammon, they're not allowed. They have to go around. Sichon, finally, okay, somewhere we need to come. Somewhere we need to cross the Jordan River. This is all along, again, that's the map. This is all these nations along the Jordan River. They have to cross the river somewhere. So Congo, Edom, Congo, Moab, Congo, Ammon have to go through Sichon. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so now Sichon, let's see what Yiftach is describing Sichon. Yep.
But Sichon did not trust Israel to pass through his border.
Mhm.
Rather, Sichon assembled all his people, and they encamped in Jahaz. And he made war against Israel. Then Hashem, God of Israel, delivered Sichon and all his people into the hands of Israel.
Ah,
And he struck them, and Israel took possession of the entire land of the Amorite.
So here, this is interesting. They took Sichon, yeah, and all the land of the Amorites. Okay, yeah. Continue.
the inhabitant of the land.
Yeah.
They took possession of the entire border of the Amorite
Mm-hmm.
from Arnon to the Jabbok and from the wilderness to the Jordan. And now Hashem, God of Israel,
Look at this.
driven
Yiftach is so
out
clever.
the Amorite
Yeah.
from before his people.
So all this, why Hashem actually when they go through that such a big detour? Because actually Hashem wanted to inherit the land of Sichon, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Yiftach says, verse number 23, and now Hashem, God of
Now
Israel,
Hashem, God of Israel, has driven out the Amorite from before his people Israel,
yeah.
and you would possess it.
So Hashem gave it to us. You want to take it? What did he say to him? 24.
Do you not take into possession that which your God Kamosh bequeaths to you?
Yeah. אשר יורשך כמו שלך, אותו תירש. You have your God, Kamosh, one of the idols, wherever it was. Yeah. Ask him. He will give you your land. We have Hashem. Hashem gave us the land of Sichon. Don't claim it's yours. It's never been yours. Right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, let's do number 25. Look at this.
Fine.
Sorry, let's go finish 24.
Finish,
Yeah, yeah.
that may you possess. But all that Hashem our God drives out from before us, we shall take possession of it.
Hashem decides what to give. Hashem wants to. So I have that. That's ours. 25.
And now you are much better than Balak, son of Zippor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why?
Did he ever strive against Israel? Did he ever do battle with
What is
them?
Yiftach saying here? What is Yiftach saying here?
It didn't work.
No.
Oh.
What is Yiftach saying here? You are not better than Balak ben Zippor, right? Arov Rav Israel. There was no fight between Am Israel and Moab.
Yeah.
And they came with no reason. They sent who? They sent instead of fighting with Israel, they sent Bilam. But there's no reason for him to attack. No reason to think that they're going to be attacked. You're not better than Balak ben Zippor. And therefore, Velo Shama, look at this after that, 25.
That's 26 actually.
Okay, go on.
When Israel dwelled in
Yeah.
Heshbon and its villages, and in Aroer and its villages,
Yeah.
and all the cities that are alongside Arnon for 300 years, why did you not recover them?
What
during
a
that time?
genius claim. 300 years, the people of Israel already inherit that place. Since they conquered 300 years earlier, the place and the 2.5 tribes, yeah?
Yeah.
Reuven, Gad, and Chatzia Menashe, Reuven, Gad, and the half of Menashe, sitting in that area. Now you're coming and claiming it's yours? Where have we been 300 years? How many years can you claim if there's someone? 3 years, 7 years,
7 years over here, 3 years in South Africa.
right?
No, if it's land,
It's a land.
30 years, I think.
30 years, not 300, maybe. I don't know.
No.
Anyway, that's not years in any way. Never been years. Okay, go on.
I have not sinned against you.
Yeah, we have nothing. We actually have no argument. It says you have no claim, no right to attack us. We never took anything that belongs to you.
But you do me wrong to make war against me. May Hashem, the judge today between the children of Israel and the children of Ammon.
Okay, 28.
But the king of the children of Ammon did not listen to the words of Yiftach, that he had sent to him.
Okay, and now Yiftach Ruach Hashem had passed through Gilad. If the spirit of Hashem was upon Yiftach, and he then also conquered Ammon. Yes?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Look at this.
Who was it? Jabotinsky said Israel is both sides of the Jordan. Is this that Israel?
The promised land is, basically the entire from
Mouth of
Iraq to
Euphrates.
the sea.
Egypt.
Yeah, that's all ours, and they basically. But you see, even when they have the right to fight, they're open in peace. It's not saying something.
And also
Israel never asked for war. Look at this. And one more thing. Go back to Parashat
That's it.
Yes.
Go back to the end of
The
Parashat
borders of
Chukat.
Israel.
So this is really interesting. Even more so.
Hmm.
Page 855. Let's read. There's a long list of places and very difficult verses here, kind of a song. But behind this, we're not going to explain everything, but there is something that is important for us to learn. Let's read page from the top.
855.
Correct.
Israel took all these cities.
All the cities of Sichon. Yeah, from Arnon, what we said. Yeah.
And Israel settled in all the Amorite cities, in Heshbon and all its suburbs.
Yeah.
For Heshbon, it was the city of Sichon, king of the Amorite, and he had warred against the first king of Moab, and took all his land from his control.
Look at this. So one time Moab was very big, right? But who took everything from Moab? Sichon.
King of the Amorite.
Who's Melech Moab Arishon? It's not Balak. We said Balak is a newly appointed king, right? Melech Moab Arishon lost everything. Yes, lost everything to Sichon. Rashi comments on that. Rashi comments on verse 26. Why the Torah tells us that, one time Moab was in that land and now Sichon took everything. Rashi says, why it was written, for what reason? It says in the Torah, you shall not provoke Moab. Correct? V'cheshbon mishel Moabita. One time, Cheshbon, this city of Cheshbon, was part of Moab. Right? כתב לנו שסיחון לקחה מהם. Sichon took Cheshbon from Moab. Yes? And now Israel taking it from Sichon. So actually Israel inheriting also Moab, but only through that Sichon had to conquer them. Because Israel could not take Cheshbon from Moab, right? Only after, and Rashi says, Israel is a beautiful way the Gemara says, basically through Sichon, Moab was purified. Tahara Israel, right? Why is that? Because there is what is the source of Moab? What comes out of Moab? Who came out of Moab? Who came out of Moab?
Yeah.
Fantastic. There is something really inherent in that spark that had to be somehow coming out. Yeah?
Sorry, who was that?
Ruth the Moabite, Ruth the Moabite. The grandmother of David, King David. Yes? So Israel had to go through Moab, but they're not allowed. So they have to go to Sichon. Sichon conquered Heshbon, and Heshbon was part of Moab. Right. But look at this.
Heshbon, like an accountant, like
that's the same name.
Accounting. Like
yeah. Ba'u Heshbon. Gemara says, Ba'u Heshbon. Rashi says, שלא היה סיחון יכול לכובשה. Sichon couldn't conquer it. הלך בשכר את בלעם לקללו. They used Bilam already in the past. Yeah, according to Rashi, Sichon used Bilam to try and curse the people of Heshbon.
Yeah.
So he can inherit them. Yeah? Yeah? So this is how Sichon managed to conquer Heshbon through Bilam. Hence, Balak, Bilam already used his magic powers to conquer. May as well use it against Israel. Right? Look at this. This is another revelation here. Let's go on. So he fought against, verse 26. Read again.
For Heshbon, it was the city of Sichon, king of the Amorite, and he had warred against the first king of Moab and took all his land from his control until Ammon.
Yeah. 855, Mike. Sorry. Yeah. Yes.
Regarding this, the poets would say, come to Heshbon, let it be built and established as the city of Sichon. For a fire has come forth from Heshbon, a flame from the city of Sichon. It consumed Ar of Moab, the masters of Arnon's heights. Woe to you, O Moab, you are lost. O people of Chemosh, he made his sons fugitives and his daughters captives of the king of the Amorites.
Okay,
Sichon.
Look at this. This is, all this song, and we don't understand every word here. But verse 29 is really interesting. What does it say?
Woe to you, O Moab, you are lost.
Oh, people of Chemosh. Who's Chemosh?
Another god, yeah.
The god of Ammon,
Come on.
right?
Correct.
So it's already been known. He is serving this god of Chemosh. Yeah. Natan banav plitim. What happened to him?
He made his sons fugitives
And
and his daughters captives of the king of the Amorite Sihon.
Sihon, when he conquered Moab, the people of the people of Chemosh,
Yeah.
yes. And when they conquered Moab, what did they do to the whole people of Moab?
Oppressed them.
They
Oppressed them.
yeah.
Took the children, took the daughters, put them fugitives. Yes. If Israel would go now, yes, they actually will be in a much better situation. So Moab, now Balak ben Zippor is saying the people of Israel, yeah, the people of Israel they are scared of them. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
The people of Israel released the people of Moab. The people of Moab were occupied by Sihon, the king of the Amorite. Yes, he oppressed the people of Moab. When Israel conquered Sihon, hence also come to around Moab, released Heshbon, they released all the fugitive there. So Israel did a favor to Moab, and yet he comes with what? With just, then what's the reason that they're so scared? Pure
Hatred.
Hatred.
pure hatred. Let's see what is the reason. Look at this, the words go now. We finish the old sequence. 857, now our parasha. Verse 3 again. Yeah.
Verse 3. Moab became very frightened of the people.
Although they really have no reason to be frightened. Israel never going to attack them.
Yeah.
They know it, but they're still scared. But what? And they
Because it was numerous.
and
And Moab was disgusted in the face of the children of
that
Israel.
that's reminding us any verse in the Torah? Yes. Let's go back to the Egypt.
Pharaoh, maybe.
Pharaoh. Exactly the same. Look at it. Look,
Lest
look,
they rise up against us.
look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Page 293.
Yeah.
Okay. Verse 6. Verse 7.
The word disgusted in Hebrew, the same as we understand it.
Vayakutsu, yeah. Yeah. And muktzeh. The word muktzeh is something that you push away on Shabbos. Same idea. I'm disgust. Yeah. And verse page 293, verse 7.
The children of Israel were fruitful, teemed, increased, and became strong.
Numerous. Right? Vayago Moab, because the people are numerous. Yeah.
Very, very much so, and the land became filled with them. A new king arose over Egypt who did not know Joseph. He said to his people, behold, the people, the children of Israel, are more numerous and stronger than we. Come, let us outsmart it, lest it become numerous. And it may be that if a war will occur, two may join
Next
out.
page. Yeah.
So they appointed taskmasters over it in order to afflict it with their burdens and built storage cities for Pharaoh, Pithom, and Ramses. But as much as they would afflict it, so it would increase and so it would spread out, and they became disgusted.
Vayakutsu mipnei bnei Israel. Same. Vayikatz mipnei vayakotz Moab. Same word. Vayakutsu. They were disgusted from the people of Israel. People of Israel, what are they doing there?
Working slaves.
Working slaves. They at that stage are not yet slaves, but becoming slaves. It's just pure hatred, anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
There's no reason for the hatred. The people of Israel have never been any thought of attacking Egypt or taking over the country. The people of Israel never attacked Moab or could attack Moab. Vayakutsu mipnei bnei Israel. Do you need any more evidence for anti-Semitism in the world than in the Torah? By the nations? Right? Unbelievable. And this is the expression after that in verse 4, back to our Pasha, 857. Yeah. and the people will lick us like the ox. Yeah, people of Israel are so disgusting. They're gonna, if not going to attack us, they're going to make sure that all the surroundings are going to be, destroyed.
Wiped out, yeah.
Where is that coming from? Where is this expression from? Yes, right. So we see this is pure hatred, pure anti-Semitism. There's no reason whatsoever for Moab to be scared of Israel. Yeah, all that. So the people of Israel go all the way around so they can conquer Sichon because Hashem promised, and then from that, in Moab there is a spark. Ruth is the spark. Yeah. So perhaps this is why they felt, because when there is a point, when there is root of pure somewhere, it somehow been covered with so much, so to speak, layers that something really extreme has to happen in order to discover it. Makes sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
When there is strong light, you need a bigger cover of black in order to stop the light. Yeah? If the sun is strong and you can't just put a shade, it's not enough. You have to put a lot of black out to stop the sun from coming through. So that's exactly what happened here. Moab becomes suddenly so extreme against Israel because of the true spark of Ruth. Later on, that will come out. All right.
Rabbi, I'm humbled by this, man. I read the entire Parashat twice, and I don't think I picked up any one thing of what you taught us. Not even one.
Yeah, but you were reading it different.
It's really Arabic. No, twice I read it, and
Thank
I
you,
tried to
everyone.
concentrate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So is that a message of hope?